Hi, everybody. George Bliss here at the 16-inch Softball Hall of Fame. I got the big bomber sitting next to me, Bobby Lopez. And we're going to talk about your trip to Omaha in a second. But in 1998, you were with the great Lettuce team. You won the MVP. What are your memories of that great year?
Just that we had such a great team. Every guy on the team was top player. Had a lot of fun. A lot of good road trips, and just competed. We just played hard and competed and had fun playing together.
You started as a neighborhood legend in the western suburbs. You played with the Stooges. Then the big team saw you right away, right? You got recruited early, correct?
Yeah. Played with the Stooges, the Spadali brothers, Michael and Jimmy. They had a very good team also. Played third base for them guys. Loved playing with them guys. They were fun to play with. And then I got I think Taggers was the team that actually came in.
The Holden boys.
The Holden brothers, and came and recruited me to play for them. Played with them a number of years. Enjoyed myself playing with them guys. And then Lettuce came and saw me play, and Rich Melman, awesome guy to play for, came and wanted me to play on their team, and that's what happened.
I've been saying this to young players for a long time. A lot of guys still don't understand the swing of the arc pitch. You understood it with the tomahawk and kind of an overhand grip. Right. What do you do that makes the ball? You always make contact. Did you have like a little different grip than most of the big stars?
I just, I loosened up on my grip. A lot of guys would be grabbing it like, the white knuckle effect. And I just kind of was really relaxed. And, it's timing. I used to walk into the ball where a lot of guys just swing like a baseball player. I just walked into the ball and used all my lower half and pretty much swing hard at it. And, I never was much of a cutter like a Johnny Kelleher or those kind of guys. I never tried to dump the ball or anything. As I got a little older, I tried to do it, but it didn't work as effective as I did when I'd swing hard. But I just tried to time it and tried to mash it. As I got older, a lot of guys would do a switch on me and things like that, George. And I just kept swinging the same way. It didn't matter to me. I just kind of swang hard and timed it up.
We're talking here with Bobby Lopez, 1998. Bobby, who hit, you were a great defensive player, too. You didn't get enough credit for that. Who were some of the guys who were hitting the shots at you at third base that would knock you over? There were some good ones. Like Johnny O'Connor, maybe to start with him?
Jesus. Johnny O'Connor, Curtis Udall. I'll tell you, those guys could put a lot of muscle behind it and a lot of other things. Keith Filkins never was shy to try to hit the ball at me and try to knock me over. A lot of people don't realize Randy Filkins was one of the better players that could really hit a ball pretty good. And, I stood there and took it. And, here we are.
We're going to come back with another interview after this on our major channel, SSA Broadcasts. We've got some good news. The tip-off is this Kansas City hat. But thanks for coming in, one of the great MVPs of all time, Bobby Lopez. We're going to see you often here, okay?
Yeah, definitely. I'll be here again, and this is a beautiful place. This is nice. I like it. So I'll definitely be back, without a doubt.
That's Bobby Lopez. Thanks for watching.
SSA Broadcasts back from the Hall of Fame. We are with Brian Koronkowski today as we continue our Forest Park No Glove National MVP interview series. And Brian, thanks for coming in.
Not a problem, Joy.
And for those of you that don't know, I say it on the podcast all the time about all the guys that I had the pleasure of managing. I had Brian for about, maybe a quarter of the year?
Yeah.
Back when you were an 18-year-old kid. Brian was telling me before we started how he missed playing this year in the under 27 because he's going to be turning 28, and I met him in 09. So you're with Feta.
Yes.
You won the MVP in 2015 when you guys beat Signature 9-8 in a pretty good ball game. So why don't you tell us what you remember from that year playing in the tournament and winning the MVP?
Yeah, definitely. So basically, we didn't lose a game. We we played Signature twice. We had to beat them twice. They were probably, on paper, I would say, the best team that year. I think they had Holstein, of course, they had Duff, Kaz, and all those guys. We actually had L. Smith as our center fielder, but he got hurt in North-South the year before, so he was out. But Kobe Fox actually stepped up and played center, and Timmy Petrus was in right field, and basically we just clicked the whole tournament. Nobody was going to beat us that whole tournament. So.
Well, actually, the year before that, if I'm not mistaken, you guys had a really good run, but you came up just a little bit short. So in 2015, you guys kind of sealed the deal a little bit.
Yeah, definitely, and I think a lot of it has to do with we just got really hot at the right moment. So
Yeah, you guys were really good that whole weekend, and I know I had the fortunate good luck of just kind of hanging around. I didn't have a team in the tournament that year, so I got to go upstairs when they were debating who was going to be the MVP. And one of the things I was trying to tell them is you played some really good defense in left field. I mean, you were catching everything, and if I'm not mistaken, in the signature game, you robbed, I want to say it was Tommy Walsh. You caught a ball that was literally right where the dirt and the grass behind third base was, and you came flying in. And I remember thinking to myself, come on, nobody gets to that ball. Not even Little B gets to that ball. So, and then I also, one of my memories of you winning was I was on an interview with George Bliss and your brother Tim. And Timmy, I don't think I ever saw a brother prouder of a sibling than he was of you that day when you won the MVP.
yeah, definitely, it's definitely cool playing with my brother. He's usually yelling at me if somebody cuts it in front of me or somebody hits it over my head. But no, he was proud. He had a good tournament. Steven had a good tournament. We all just played really well. But yeah, it's cool playing with your brother. I'm sure that, the Smith brothers, and I heard I think Bliss was talking to me one day about the Kellehers maybe. Not too sure, but yeah.
That's how young he is, folks. He doesn't know who the Kellehers were.
Yeah, so I know that brothers like to play a lot together, like the Lawlers. So yeah, it's cool, and I like. It was a fun team as well, so that's what's most important, I would say.
Well, you guys still look like you're. That team is kind of morphed now. You guys are feta.
Yeah.
Obviously, you guys are going to be in the No Glove. You got invited. Probably going to get a bye. You guys made it to the championship game of the North-South this year. So when you guys got everybody out, I've been saying all summer that you're one of the 2 or 3 teams that can battle with the 45s.
Yeah, definitely. I think in the North-South tournament we lost to 45s by one both games. So yeah, I mean, a good day at the plate, good day defensively, we could beat anybody.
Yeah, I think so. And just for the people at home, Brian runs a real neat scholarship tournament every year. Why don't you tell the people what you do there? I know we live streamed a little of it earlier over Memorial Day weekend, but why don't you let the people know a little bit about that you work on?
Yeah, definitely. So me and my buddies, there's like 6 or 7 of us. We started a scholarship once one of my buddies passed away 4 or 5 years ago. So basically it's a co-ed tournament. It's at a park. It's called Point Park, small dimensions, 180 feet in right, 220 in center, 220 in left. So of course, guys like Rob Gazzano wants to get in the tournament every year, so you get in them out. But yeah, it's not too competitive, but it's just a fun all-day tournament, and we raise through that tournament alone. We probably raised $3,000-4,000 just to give back to scholarship. And what the scholarship is, it gives undocumented students who cannot receive scholarships for college. It gives them, just to make their college experience a little bit easier. So that's what we do.
So that's Brian Koronkowski, MVP from the 2015 No Glove National Championship Tournament. It's going to be coming up this year, the 50th annual No Glove. So it's a big celebration. I know you got your invitation.
Yes.
The Tuesday before the start of the tournament, all of these MVPs are going to be right out here at Forest Park. So if you're not doing anything, make plans, come on out, see all of these MVPs. It'll be some of the greatest players that ever played in this tournament, all in one place at one time. So for SSA Broadcasts and Brian Koronkowski, this is Gio saying so long, and we'll see you soon.
See you later, guys.
No Glove Nationals MVP series. Guess who I got here? Look at this guy. David Ruehl, 1990 No Glove National. That was a couple years ago.
Yeah, it was, George. Yeah, it's great to be here. Yeah.
So, listen, Dave, we're doing this series on great players. We had Israel Sanchez in here, Bobby Russ. We had a few other guys that you know. But 1990 was the beginning, the end of the Whips dynasty, and then you went with Lettuce after that. So you've won an MVP at Forest Park, and you've won a lot of MVPs in Nationals as well.
I did, and it was my year I played with the Whips. It was a great experience. I think you look back now, being able to just play in the Forest Park tournament was something that was even, just great. So looking back, it's been a wonderful experience. Yeah, I was really fortunate to win the MVP with the Whips.
Are you ready for this? Mark Forgetto was one of the winners. Mark never hit that big, but he won an MVP.
Yeah, he won in '87, I think, Mark.
See, I need the history here.
Mark could do it all by himself defensively, so I know he had a pretty good tournament in '87. He hit about 550, but his defense won that tournament for sure.
What's going on these days in your life? I know you're a Chicago police officer and having fun.
Yeah, in Chicago police now. I've been up to about 26 years and playing also a lot of 12-inch now at 15 over, so still mess around with 16. But looking back on the Forest Park experience with it being the 50 years now, it was incredible. And, to see everybody to play, and it was just remarkable. It was really a lot of fun. Yeah, you forget when you play then how big it was and important. But now you look back, 30 years later, that, wow, I can't believe I was able to do that or play, for that.
Look here, turn horizontal to that. Look at this, still cruising. You've played 50 and over Glenview. You've played police tournaments. You've won about 20 MVPs. You're probably, and I don't want to embarrass you're probably the most exciting player that's ever been in 16-inch softball. I mean, there's been some great guys, Benny Holt and Keith Filkins, and we know about the stats, but for excitement, you're probably number one.
Well, I got started so young when I was 17 playing major that I played with so many.
Wait a minute. Did you say you started at 17 playing major ball?
Yeah, right out of high school, and I started playing with the Taggers with Frank Colin, and then I played with the Whips and with Lettuce, but I just played with great players that pushed me, great managers that pushed me, and it was a lot of fun. That's how I got better, pretty quick.
A lot of people on television when we had our radio shows know you from the Lettuce teams. Give us a 10-second recap of the experience with playing with Rich Melman and the Lettuce team.
Oh, goodness. It was incredible, the players that were there and how Rich ran it. He ran it, just like it was going to be successful no matter what. Anything he touches was going to be successful. So you had to buy in right away to what he was doing, and we all did. And just some remarkable things that went on there with him and Joel and, Jake Jacoby. We had some, and Ray Tops that ran it. So it was great. Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
1990 Pete's Hideaway Whips, many MVPs. Dave, thanks for coming to the Hall of Fame. We also have your son here today, and he's playing hardball at Illinois Benedictine.
He is. He's going to pitch coming up in the fall, starts his college career, but like all the rules, he loves 16-inch, and he's enjoying himself on the 16-inch field too.
All right, that's the great Dave Ruehl. Thanks for coming in, Dave.
Thanks, Georgie.
Hi, everybody. George Bliss at the Softball Hall of Fame with, well, arguably one of the best softball players in America. This is Mark Holstein. Mark, thanks for coming in today.
Thanks for having me, George. Appreciate it.
So, No Glove Nationals. You've been in them since about 2003. Is it the best tournament you've been in?
Yes, I've played every year since I've been 18, and I'm 40 now, and it's the pinnacle. It's the one you want to play.
22 years. Now, listen to this. Whoa, you've got 8 No Glove championships, 6 with the 45s, 2 with Windy City, MVP in 2009, and could have been 4 more times. You've had probably the top career in the game.
I don't know. There's a lot of good players that have come before me that are still playing now. I've just been lucky enough to be with the right teams, right coaches, right players, and we've had a lot of great runs in the last few 20 years or so.
Is there anything that stands out on one of the games or one of the big key hits? Because a couple of years ago you had some monster hits late in the game, but one year that really says, "Oh wow, that was a crazy one."
The funny thing is now that I've getting older, people come up to me and they tell me stories that they remember of stuff that happened that I did that I don't even remember. But the biggest hit that I remember is we were playing the Jinx in 2009, and we had to come back to double dip them. The Jinx had an awesome team that year, and it was some of the best, toughest games ever. And it came down to a tie game in the bottom, I believe it was the bottom of the 7th or the bottom of the 8th or something like that. And I was able to lead off with a triple, and then they walked the next two guys, and whoever batted next made an out, next guy made an out, and it came down to Danny Jelowicz. So Danny came up, bases loaded, 2 outs, Forest Park on the line. And what people don't really remember is earlier in the game, he hit a bomb. He hit a home run down the left field line. So the left fielder had to give him a step or two in left field to make sure he didn't get beat again. And it came down to it. And I believe the count was 1-2 or 2-2. And Danny literally cut the ball within a foot of the foul line. And A.J. Koya was playing left field for the Jinx. And
Another great player.
Yep. He was literally one step away from catching it. But because Danny had beat him earlier that game, he was back a step or two, and we won. And, that was – everybody was jumping up and down. It was crazy. And, and that was the 6th time or 5th time. I don't even know what time we won it, but, that was the one that's the most memorable.
So listen to this. When I was doing television back in the 90s, Danny Jelowicz was the MVP of the TV league. So you just mentioned a great kid there.
Yeah, Danny was an awesome player. In that same game, there was a situation where – I was at home, and I believe the Jinx had the bases loaded, and they just tried to get the run in, and someone hit just a weak ground ball to second. Instead of Danny coming up, throwing it to first, he came up, fired home, caught the ball, and I believe that kept the game tied going into the bottom of the whatever 7th or 8th.
Yeah, speaking of defense, do you prefer catching DH or first base? Because you're a way better first baseman than most people really talk about, because when you go in there for an injury or whatever, you hold it tight.
Right. Well, starting at a young age, Rasha used to tell me, he's like, "Hey, buddy.
Bob Rasha,
you're not here for your defense. You're here for your offense." So, because I would, as a young kid, I'm like, "Bob, I'll go play first. I'll go play here." He's like, "No." And it was never an option. He's like, DH, catcher. He's like, "The last thing I need is for you to break a finger or hurt something."
Good point.
And then we got 2 months without Markey, so.
And you're a school teacher out in the western suburbs. Tell us a little bit about your career.
I teach at Sycamore High School. I run the BD program, so it's the quote, tough, bad kids.
Yeah.
So I've been doing that for 5 years, and this year my job's changing, so I'm going to be a partial BD teacher and then partial technology specialist for the school.
Fabulous. Well, this is number 20, one of the best ever. Mark, thanks for coming in. Good luck this year in 2018 in Forest Park, the 50th annual. I expect probably to see you in that final game, buddy.
I'm sure hoping make it 9 this year. We'll see.
SSA Broadcasts, talk to you soon. SSA Broadcast with your No Glove Nationals tour of duty here. Look at this here, number 38, Israel Sanchez. Welcome to the hall, my friend.
Thank you, George. It's good to be here.
Now, I want to tell about the folks about your history. You pitched in the major leagues for the Kansas City Royals. You were a phenom in high school. And how was your major league experience? It had to teach you a lot about this game.
Well, there's a lot that you can talk about the game. You can relate to softball a lot to baseball, and I learned a lot playing baseball, and what I learned most was that the game's as competitive as baseball as it is in softball.
It is. It's crazy. Now, you've won 2 MVPs in the No Glove Nationals with the 45s. 2. Hard to do. I don't want to embarrass you. You're probably in the top 5 players of all time in softball, and How did you get at first base? You were pitching in the major leagues. Who the heck put you at first base in softball?
Well, I appreciate the comment, but I've always done things to do the best I can and work as hard as I possibly could. At my size and my stature, I was always told I couldn't do certain things, so I wanted to prove people wrong. As far as first base, it just came natural. I started playing with the Thrashers, and first base was it. I was probably a little bit later in my age to go on the outfield, where I probably would have played. At the point I started playing was about 30, 31, and I was a little older, so first base was probably the easiest place for me to go to, and I enjoyed it.
Well, there's really little argument about you're in the top 3 first basemen of all time as well. I mean, way up there with these legendary people like Wally Filkins, et cetera. Now, let me ask you a question about first base. What is the key thing at first base? Is it to be close to the bag? Is it to make sure you get to throw up? What's the trick, if there is one?
Well, I don't really think there's any particular way to play the position, whatever you're comfortable with. I was always one that played really deep in the infield and just counted on the guys I played with. I played with some very good players, and I always told them, throw it to the bag and I'll be there.
Are you ready for this? The 45s, 8 no-glove championships. No one's even come close. Why do you think the 45s are the greatest team of all time? Is it just they're just younger, they're better, they have great coaching with Ron Kubicki? I mean, Bob Ross started them. You're talking legendary team like the Yankees.
Well, we were fortunate enough to get a lot of good guys wanting to come play with us, and it's like anything else. Everybody wants to play with the winner, and we were fortunate enough to pick up some young guys and guys that came along and a little later in their career that wanted to play with some better guys. And like I said, we were a good group of guys, and we always enjoyed being around each other.
Number 38 here, Israel Sanchez. One more thing. Your family has All-American softball players, your daughter and your son-in-law. I mean, how does this all happen?
Well, it's a family thing. Everybody plays sports. My wife claims to have played volleyball her in her younger days. I can't remember, but she claims to be an athlete. All my daughters played softball. My son plays baseball, and we've been very fortunate and been very blessed when it comes to that. So it's with Natalie, she played. Brittany played.
University
Anthony,
of Illinois, correct?
Yes, Anthony plays at Illinois State. So he's graduating now, but it's been a good blessing for us athletic-wise. We've had a really, really good time with sports.
You've got a great story in your history about the traffic game. Tell us about it.
Well, we come in and we normally, back in the day when you get seated, you get a Friday night game. And unfortunately, I shouldn't say unfortunately, we got a late night game that Friday. It was, I think, a 9 o'clock game. We ended up playing at about 10:30, and we were facing traffic. Traffic's always been a team that comes out depending on what day they show up.
Got great players.
Yeah, they're going to hit. They're going to do what they. But that day they came out, and I don't know what it was. Egg Zarnik started the game, and he gave up about 7 or 8. Then Lenny Nuzzo went out there and gave up 2 or 3, and Frank was like, I don't know what to do. We were down, I think, 10-0 before we looked up in the first or second inning, and we kept going. I think the game ended up like I want to say 19-14 somewhere. It was a big scoring game, but we ultimately came back and won the game. But that one really stands out in my head, thinking, wow, we're going to lose the first night of Forest Park. And well, we were fortunate enough to come back and win. I think we won that tournament, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember the year, but I'm sure you can look back and see what that was. And I would say that we might have come back and won that tournament.
One more question. 50th annual No Glove Nationals. What's going to happen this year? Give me a prediction.
Well, I would hope to say that we're going to be in it at the end, hopefully in the Final Four winners bracket. And like I said, we've got good chemistry. We've got a nice offensive lineup, and our defense is pretty good. So if we do what we're supposed to do, hopefully, and I would say we'd be right there. We'd be in the game.
Israel Sanchez, number 38, not one, 2 MVPs and a lot of MVPs in other tournaments. We'll see you out there, brother. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Hi, everybody. George Bliss here at the Hall of Fame. Guess who's sitting next to me? The one and only Sal Milazzo. What happened in 2016? Now, a hell of a game.
Which game?
The game where you won the MVP against Hex. Come on.
It was a great tournament. Probably the most unexpected tournament I ever encountered.
I've never seen anybody pitch. I mean, that was a dominating performance. Then at the end of the key inning there, a guy hit a 100-mile-an-hour line drive, which I have on videotape, which we'll find here. And you crushed it and caught it, and that kind of changed the game right there, didn't it?
Yeah, it spun me around a little bit. It might have been the hardest hit ball back at me. But I wasn't the only one who won the MVP. We shared it. I shared it
with Matt Richards, I believe.
Richards, yes. And he had a hell of a tournament. Pitchers don't win MVPs without great teams behind.
Now there's Zarnik and there's Bischoff, and then the young stud Milazzo. You earned that MVP.
I earned it, but I had the team and the players behind me. Any pitcher that wins it, actually any player that wins it doesn't win a tournament without the team behind them. So it's
very humble. We love you for it. Hey, Signature Transportation, great guy. You're one of the founders of the SSA, Slow Pitch Softball Association. I've been in this 30 years. Can you believe it? No one's done more for us in general in the last 10 years than you, so we thank you for that.
Well, again, it's a team effort. The founders, the board of directors, the new young players that we have in right now that are serving are doing an amazing job. And what Gio's done this year, Gio has made a complete transformation in the way that he's taken the game and started streaming it and started using Game Changer.
And we got you right here on the SSA broadcast. Yes. You know, we've had guys like Bobby Lopez, who was just in here a few seconds ago. We have Israel Sanchez in here, Chippy, Koronkowski. These are the last 10 year or so MVPs. These are great players.
Right. It's not often I get to give short jokes to other players, but Chippy, I can do that.
What's going on in your life these days? You got the great company, Signature Transportation, out there on Mount Prospect. I use them, my company, fantastic guys over there. You got Mr. Duff over there and Chris Guerin and Jack Nakanishi and a few others. You got softball guys working for you, which we also think is very nice of you.
We were talking the other day about taking a team made up of employees from our company and entering it in a tournament. And then we found out that we probably wouldn't be allowed because there's too many major players. Yeah. But we have a great group of people. I find that when you surround yourself with good people, you're always going to be successful. And the talent we have right now at Signature, made up of very competitive people, the Chris Guerins, the Kevin Duffs, the Jack Nakanishis, Matt Eberhardts. They're all competitive people. So when you put them in a work environment, it really translates.
Absolutely. What's going on the next 10 years in softball? You think it's going to keep this little rebirth level going here?
I think it's important that we protect the A division. We protect the B and rec divisions. If we do that, the game's going to grow. It's going to continue to dominate, and kids will play it. The dynamics in our society have changed. There's more video games. There's so many different things, just our society in general. The younger generation finds excuses not to play, and in our generation, we found excuses to play. So it really is changing, but I think if we protect the young teams that are coming into the game, if we don't allow them to be tackle dummies for major teams, I think we'll be okay. I think we'll do good.
Well, we're wishing you the best the next 10, 20 years. You've been great to us here at the Hall of Fame, and good luck in the 50th Annual No Glove Nationals. You never know. I can't predict, but you may find Signature in the winner's circle again.
Well, we plan on being there. There's 10 teams that I think could win the tournament if they play well. I think there's another 10 teams that are what I call disruptors. They can beat any of the top teams. And then you've got the prestige teams, and they're in it just for the prestige. The last disruptor team that's won it, though, is probably my favorite team, winning Forest Park. And I know we've won it a couple times, but this one was the 2014 Dynasty.
Neighborhood guys that shock the world.
It was amazing. It was probably the funnest tournament, and I had to miss Sunday that day. But what a great team that year.
This is him, MVP Sal Milazzo. Slow Pitch Softball Association, and the world. We'll see you down the road. Thanks for coming in, Sal.
Thanks, George.
See you soon.
SSA Broadcasts back from the Hall of Fame. We are with Brian Koronkowski today as we continue our Forest Park No Glove National MVP interview series. And Brian, thanks for coming in.
Not a problem, George.
And for those of you that don't know, I say it on the podcast all the time about all the guys that I had the pleasure of managing. I had Brian for about, what was it, maybe a quarter of the year?
Yeah.
Back when you were an 18-year-old
18-year-old.
kid. Brian was telling me before we started how he missed playing this year in the under 27 because he's going to be turning 28, and I met him in '09. So you're with Feta.
Yes.
You won the MVP in 2015 when you guys beat Signature 9-8 in a pretty good ball game. So why don't you tell us what you remember from that year playing in the tournament and winning the MVP?
Yeah, definitely. So basically, we didn't lose a game. We played Signature twice. We had to beat them twice. They were probably, on paper, I would say, the best team that year. I think they had Holstein, of course, they had Duff, Kaz, and all those guys. We actually had L. Smith as our center fielder, but he got hurt in North-South the year before, so he was out. But Kobe Fox actually stepped up and played center, and Timmy Petrus was in right field, and basically, we just clicked the whole tournament. Nobody was going to beat us that whole tournament. So,
Well, actually, the year before that, if I'm not mistaken, you guys had a really good run, but you came up just a little bit short. So in 2015, you guys kind of sealed the deal a little bit.
yeah, definitely. And I think a lot of it has to do with we just got really hot at the right moment. So,
Yeah, you guys were really good that whole weekend, and I know I had the fortunate good luck of just kind of hanging around. I didn't have a team in the tournament that year, so I got to go upstairs when they were debating who was going to be the MVP. And one of the things I was trying to tell them is you played some really good defense in left field. I mean, you were catching everything, and if I'm not mistaken, in the Signature game, you robbed, I want to say it was Tommy Walsh. You caught a ball that was literally right where the dirt and the grass behind third base was, and you came flying in. And I remember thinking to myself, come on, nobody gets to that ball. Not even Little B gets to that ball. So, and then I also, one of my memories of you winning was I was on an interview with George Bliss and your brother Tim. And Timmy, I don't think I ever saw a brother prouder of a sibling than he was of you that day when you won the MVP.
yeah, definitely. It's definitely cool playing with my brother. He's usually yelling at me if somebody cuts it in front of me or somebody hits it over my head. But no, he was proud. He had a good tournament. Steven had a good tournament. We all just played really well. But yeah, it's cool playing with your brother. I'm sure that the Smith brothers, and I heard I think Bliss was talking to me one day about the Kelleher's maybe. Not too sure, but yeah.
That's how young he is, folks. He doesn't know who the Kelleher's were.
Yeah. So I know that brothers like to play a lot together, like the Lawlers. So yeah, it's cool, and I like. It was a fun team as well. So that's what's most important, I would say.
Well, you guys still look like you're, that team is kind of morphed now. You guys are Feta.
Yeah.
Obviously, you guys are going to be in the No Glove. You got invited, probably going to get a bye. You guys made it to the championship game of the North-South this year. So when you guys got everybody out, I've been saying all summer that you're one of the 2 or 3 teams that can battle with the 45s.
Yeah, definitely. I think in the North-South tournament, we lost to 45s by one both games. So, yeah, I mean, a good day at the plate, good day defensively, we could beat anybody.
Yeah, I think so. And just for the people at home, Brian runs a real neat scholarship tournament every year. Why don't you tell the people what you do there? I know we live streamed a little of it earlier over Memorial Day weekend, but why don't you let the people know a little bit about that you work on?
Yeah, definitely. So me and my buddies, there's like 6 or 7 of us. We started a scholarship once one of my buddies passed away 4 or 5 years ago. So basically it's a co-ed tournament. It's at a park. It's called Point Park, small dimensions, 180 feet in right, 220 in center, 220 in left. So So of course, guys like Rob Gazano wants to get in the tournament every year, so you get him out. But yeah, it's not too competitive, but it's just a fun all day tournament, and we raise through that tournament alone. We probably raised $3,000-$4,000 just to give back to scholarship. And what the scholarship is, it gives undocumented students who cannot receive scholarships for college. It gives them, just to make their college experience a little bit easier. So that's what we do.
So that's Brian Koronkowski, MVP from the 2015 No Glove National Championship Tournament. It's going to be coming up this year, the 50th annual No Glove. So it's a big celebration. I know you got your invitation.
Yes.
The Tuesday before the start of the tournament, all of these MVPs are going to be right out here at Forest Park. So if you're not doing anything, make plans, come on out, see all of these MVPs. It'll be some of the greatest players that ever played in this tournament, all in one place at one time. So for SSA Broadcasts and Brian Koronkowski, this is Gio saying so long, and we'll see you soon.
See you later, guys.
SSA Broadcasts here at the Softball Hall of Fame. We're bringing you the best players that ever played at Forest Park, and maybe none better than, are you ready for this? 23 years ago, Frank Ferrarese. Frank, thanks for coming in.
My pleasure.
So wait a minute now, the Dollhouse. Tell us what happened there.
Well, it was 1995. We had a bunch of guys that came over. It was a good year. A lot of guys got hurt during the year. I was scheduled to start at short center, but in the beginning, Mike O'Neill got hurt. He was playing third base, so I played third base. And then Paulie O'Meara was playing second base. He got hurt. O'Neill came back, so I shifted over to second base, and that's where I played for Forest Park.
Big names.
Big names.
These guys maybe should be in the hall too, right? O'Neill, O'Meara. Oh, my God.
Jeff Berger.
Who's your pitcher?
Dolph
Bianchini.
Keeney, Stan Backus, Carl at short center. I don't remember who was in center.
Fucking Maniscalco, of course.
Right.
So here we are. You're playing Lettuce, one of the most powerful teams in the history of the game. Right. Incredibly close game.
A lot bigger names they had.
A lot bigger name. Getting to the end of the game, you come up in the seventh inning, and the game's on the line,
Bottom of seventh.
and you got a nice swing.
Bottom of seventh, down one run, and I just happened to hit it well.
I did. You crushed it. It went way over the
I went
left
over
fielder's
left
head.
fielder's head and hit a home run to tie the game in the bottom of seventh.
Crowd going nuts.
It was a nice crowd out there. Forest Park always draws a good crowd.
Yeah. What are some of your memories of Forest Park over and above your MVP year?
Every year, you just couldn't wait to Forest Park. Great crowds, great fields, great teams to play. Mm-hmm. Every game was do or die. It was always a great time to come out and play in Forest Park.
What are you doing these days? You playing 15 over leagues?
Playing 15 over on Wednesday night. It's like a gloves mush with still a lot of guys are playing. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of rapping. It takes more time to rap than it does to play the game, but it's a lot of fun.
You mean a rapper like Kanye West, or a different?
Wrap your leg. Wrap the legs, wrap the ankles, wrap the knees. It's intense. It's still intense, but it's fun.
This is Frank Ferrarese, MVP, one of the great Forest Park stars of all time. Thanks for watching. This is SSA Broadcasts.